Hello, my name is Ruby Lee, and I will be discussing the Virginia Tech shooting that altered many college students' lives. First, what is Virginia Tech? Virginia Tech, also known as the Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, is located in Blacksburg, Virginia, and ranked 48th in university research in the United States. They hold up to 110 undergraduate degree programs and 170 master and doctoral degree programs. Virginia Tech is also home to around 37,000 students on and off the main campus. Before we talk about one of the most devastating mass murders in the United States, I'll first be introducing Cho Seung-hee. He was born on January 18, 1984 in South Korea before his parents decided to immigrate to the United States when he was 8 years old. He then moved to Centerville, Virginia, and his parents started a dry cleaning business there. He eventually got picked on by other students when he was younger, and especially from his church peers. When he started attending Virginia Tech as an English major, one professor had him removed due to being a bully, not listening to the professor, and photographing the legs and knees of female students. He was also accused of stalking 2 females. However, neither victim filed charges. A suicidal note written by Cho in 2005 led him to be taken to a psychiatric hospital, but later released to receive therapy instead. 5 weeks before the shooting, Cho had bought his first handgun and bought a second one as the day of the shooting was approaching. On April 16, 2007, 32 people died to the hands of Cho. The shooting had begun around 7:15 a.m. when Cho had shot a female freshman and a male RA in a campus dormitory, West Ambler Johnston Hall. He then fled to his dorm room to rearm and left behind a note and left to go to a classroom building, Norris Hall, which is across the campus. Police arrived on the scene but thought that the perpetrator was the female victim's boyfriend. Around 9:40 a.m., Cho entered a classroom building with a 9mm handgun, a .22 caliber handgun, and hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Once he got inside the building, he chained multiple main doors and started hopping between 4 classrooms, shooting up to 30 more people. However, after 10 minutes had passed, Cho had shot himself in the head. This attack has left 32 people dead and dozens injured. Among the ones who have passed away, 27 were students and the other 5 were faculty. On April 18, 2 days after the shooting, NBC News received a package from Cho that he had mailed between the 2 shootings containing photos of Cho holding guns, a video of him rambling, and several writings. The notes Cho had left in his dorm were discovered by law enforcement, with several pages of 2 violent plays. And in one play, it states, "You forced me into a corner and gave me only one option. The decision was yours." Along with another writing stating, "I didn't have to do this. I could have left. I could have fled, but no, I will no longer run." On April 18, 2007, it was announced that the Hokie Spirit Memorial Fund will donate $180,000 to the families of the 32 victims. The injured will receive anywhere from $40,000 to $90,000, depending on the severity of the injuries. On April 18, 2007, at 8:30 p.m., a candlelight vigil was held in front of the Frog Baby statue to remember the victims. I would like to take a moment to commemorate the victims. Ryan Clark, Emily Jane Hilscher, Ross Alameddine, Dr. Christopher Bishop, Brian Bloom, Austin Cloyd, Jocelyn Colcher Nowak, Daniel Alejandro Perez Cueva, Dr. Kevin Granada, Matt Gwaltney, Caitlin Hamarin, Jeremy Herbstritt, Rachel Hill, Jarrett Lane, Matt Laporte, Henry Lee, Dr. Laval Labrescu, Dr. G, Partathy Memoria, Lauren McCain, Daniel O'Neill, Juan Ramon Ortiz, Manal Panchal, Aaron Peterson, Michael Polay, Julia Pride, Mary Karen Reed, Rima Joseph Samaha, Waleed Muhammad, Leslie Sherman, Maxine Turner, and Nicole Regina White. In 2008, an $11 million settlement was reached with the family's victims. However, two of those families rejected the offer and sued Virginia Tech for wrongful death. A year after the shooting, the Cho family have continued to live in darkness. The night of the tragedy, the Chos packed their bags and left their home around midnight and moved location to location around the Washington area. They have turned off their cell phones to be more isolated from the public. Months later, neighbors have stated that the family has returned to Centerville. Authorities are in frequent contact with the Cho family, but have not been placed in protective custody. The police assured that the family that they will investigate any hate crime that is directed at them. On April 21, 2007, in response to the tragic shootings at Virginia Tech, President George W. Bush directed Secretaries Michael Leavitt, Margaret Spellings, and Attorney General Alberto Gonzales to travel to communities across the nation and to meet with educators, mental health experts, law enforcement, and state and local officials to discuss the broader issues raised by this tragedy. The President instructed Secretary Leavitt to summarize what they have learned from these meetings and report back with recommendations about how the federal government can help avoid such tragedies in the future. Questions were raised about the proper balance between providing for the safety and security of the communities while protecting privacy and liberty and helping people with mental illness get the care they need. The meetings could not be an attempt to resolve or reset the balance of all these interests, but there was a shared sense that we must not miss the opportunity to learn from this event and do what they can to make the community safer. These were the key findings discovered in the report. Education officials, healthcare providers, law enforcement personnel, and others are not fully informed about when they can share critical information on persons who are likely to be a danger to self or others, and the resulting confusion may chill legitimate information sharing. State laws and practices do not uniformly ensure that information on persons restricted from possessing firearms is appropriately captured and available to the NICS. It is important that the parents, students, and teachers learn to recognize warning signs and encourage those who need help to seek it so that people receive the care they need and that the communities are safe. Meeting the challenge of adequate and appropriate community integration of people with mental illness requires effective coordination of community service providers who are sensitive to the interests of safety, privacy, and provision of care. For the many states and communities that have already adopted programs, including emergency preparedness and violence prevention plans to address school and community violence, the challenge is fully implementing these programs through practice and effective communication. This report summarizes the recurring major themes that led to each finding, along with the critical steps state and local leaders identified as being taken to address school violence and mental illness. This report also identifies steps the three federal agents can take to ensure federal law and activities support state and local efforts to deal with the complex issues raised by the Virginia Tech tragedy. In addition, participants also cited the important role that the U.S. Department of Homeland Security plays in assisting the states and localities in conducting threat assessments and risk preparedness. A number of the federal recommendations that were identified in the report suggest opportunities for the agencies and Homeland Security to work together to better assist states and localities in these functions. 10 years after the shooting, a survivor, Christina Anderson, has dedicated to helping schools prepare for active shooter scenarios and trying to prevent it. She has founded the Koshka Foundation, a nonprofit organization that focuses on campus safety. She also has co-founded a mobile app called LifeSafe, which allows users to report any crime or safety related to law enforcement. 15 years later, on April 15, 2022, Virginia Tech honors victims on 15th anniversary of mass shooting. Families, friends, and former students gathered together to remember the 32 lives that were lost in the Virginia Tech mass shooting. On Friday, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin ordered all state and federal flags to be flown at half-staff in memory of the tragic day.